Hey guys, what's up? My name is Art. I'm back for another video. Yeah, it's been a while since I did one. Maybe like 2 or 3 days, maybe, or maybe was it Sunday? I can't remember. This week has been very atrocious. Just about every day in Michigan was like 90 plus with super high humidity. So it's great if you have air conditioning, but since we don't have air conditioning in our house because it's broken, and the owners of the house don't have the money to fix it at the moment. Everybody has to suffer. This is the third straight year. You would think that maybe you would save some money to get it fixed. That way, the summer hits, it'd be easy breezy. But you know what happens is that around the air conditioning unit, which is old as hell, there's a lot of branches and leaves and trees around that area, so we had to trim all that stuff up the last couple of weeks. So the last couple of weeks we paid some person to trim up a lot of the trees, and they was supposed to remove all the excess branches, but they never showed back up, so we had to do it, which is no big deal. Try to do all that in like 90-degree weather. So I work here. I'm working here. 90-degree weather, hot, sweaty. I had my ceiling fan on. It wasn't really doing much or anything. I put a fan in my window that did some things, but it was so humid, it wasn't really working. So I was wiped out. Of course, with the humidity and stuff, he was wiped out. Then you go outside and do some work, and he was wiped out too. So it was like, you would think just because I paid the mortgage, certain things, other things could be done, but hey, in every life there's certain things going on. My mother's husband just got out of the hospital of like the 4th of July. He probably I think he had a stroke, and he's going through a little rehab right now, so he's off of work. So that's less money coming into the home until their workman's comp come through, which is going to take some time. So there's a lot of things going on. Other than that, today, around about 4 o'clock, my coworker, his son is having a graduation party. I'm planning on attending it. I'm planning on going to it. The funny thing is, this guy, he's one of those kind of people that says COVID-19 don't exist and it's a hoax. Then one of our coworkers got it, then was like, "Oh, it's a political hoax now. It's just all political now." I'm like, "What different? What? Really?" Well, if you ever notice in the news, a lot of places there, which are red states, they've opened up and their cases are soaring big time. Places like California, they mandated that you have to wear a mask everywhere you go outside your house. In Michigan, we're not there yet. We have to wear a mask in any kind of indoor building, especially if it's crowded. So, and the problem is, there's a lot of people here who says, "I don't need a mask." That this is no big deal. Wearing a mask, it helps. It doesn't help your immunity system. Problem is, and then again, of course, there's another person who does YouTube stage videos about how this is a hoax, and I watched a couple of those, and I like to debunk this person. But the problem is that it wouldn't matter. You could throw all the facts you want on it. It would be wasting your time. But that's okay. No big deal, right? But he was like, "Oh, this guy right here." He was like, "This is a hoax. This is nothing. I'm not wearing a mask and everything else." Then all of a sudden, we had a meeting over the telephone, conference call style, and he was so congested. He's like, "I don't know why I'm getting sick and everything else." And me and a whole bunch of people was like, I instant messaging each other, said, "Oh, you probably caught COVID. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness," because that's one of the signs is nasal congestion. Problem is, nasal congestion is one of the signs of COVID-19. Like they're saying now, I suffer from that, from permanent sinusitis. If you live in Michigan, or you grew up in Michigan, or were born in Michigan, 70% of us will grow with some kind of breathing problem, whether it's sinusitis, seasonal allergies, or asthma. It's proven. All the doctors agree. So that's why it's like my aunt who has COPD, she moved to Arizona or was it Florida? Not Florida, but California or something where the heat's drier. So she's not suffering as much. But anyway, but then again, for a person who don't believe this exists, he took a COVID-19 test. And we all like, wow, that's pretty hypocritical because how can you say you say this doesn't exist, but you take a test because you think you got it, which kind of tells you a lot of things. A lot of people, if they believe that they would never get it, they don't know anybody, so it doesn't exist, and it's all a hoax because it's no one they know experienced that. The problem is they don't know what COVID-19 does to you. Have you ever had bronchitis or pneumonia before? Okay? If you had that before, that's what COVID-19 does. It technically gives you pneumonia. And of course, the mortality rate is only 5%. But the thing is that if you have breathing problems, it exacerbates your breathing problems. So that means it's harder for you to breathe. I had walking pneumonia twice. And believe me, for me walking from here to the bathroom, I was winded. I had no breath. I had no strength, no energy because I couldn't breathe. It was hard for me to breathe. Thank you. It's windy today and it's not so hot and it's blowing the door in and out while my mother and her husband are having a little Bible conference downstairs. They haven't started speaking in tongues yet, so that's fine. But anyway, basically the lightest symptoms of COVID-19 is that you'll get the flu. More of an enhanced flu that will really hurt. But the thing is, they think, oh, this is no big deal. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it because I knew what pneumonia. I had it twice, and believe me, I don't want it again. The worst case scenario is that you had to go on a ventilator. Worst case scenario. But anyway, enough of that. Last Sunday I worked out. My gym was open and I worked out. The workout was pretty cool. See, the thing is, my gym has 24-hour access. There's staff hours and non-staff hours. I always go through non-staff hours because there's usually less people there, especially on a Sunday. So I went there about Sunday late afternoon, around about 4 or 5 o'clock, and there was like 10 people in there. What happened was when you go in there, there's like the magazines as well. The everything's locked up. There is a table. There's 2 tables. On one table is a whole bunch of towels. Every member gets a towel to wipe off equipment. And they're being very strict on this. They're getting the first time they're actually getting strict on wiping down equipment, because they're actually going to use the cameras in there to make sure people are wiping that stuff down. Well, that's what they're saying, and you have to sign a waiver saying that I promise that I won't sue this place or hold this place responsible if I catch COVID-19. So I signed it just to do the workout. Worked out and I was sore for over half the week. Yesterday was the first time I did not feel sore at all. I was like, whoa. That tells you after 3 months I was out of shape. So I can't just go balls to the wall like I normally do. Gotta learn that lesson. Alright. And what happened is I found out because of our governor decided to put the new mask. You have to wear a mask now, and she's basically saying establishment has the right to kick your ass out if you don't wear a mask. Because of that, see, a lot of companies do that anyway, but people are bitching about it. But now, guess what? People are bitching more because the funny thing is that here's the problem. We're savages. It's our fault that the cases are rising up because we had to protest. We had to protest the strict laws, the strict closing down. We had to protest, and cases went up higher. We had to protest George Floyd, Aubrey Hill, or whatever. We had to protest all that. We had to do all that. We had to do all that protest, and cases always went up. So guess what? Because of we had to do all that shit, cases went up. Now this is a result of it, and people are bitching. The problem is that hell, if you was wearing your damn mask in the first place, we could have probably have no problems. But even though there's no cure for COVID-19, there's no vaccine for COVID-19 to help you fight it, there's really nothing to help you with. They say a certain medication can help. Can help is the problem. So it doesn't mean it's going to work. But anyway. And of course, some people are getting reinfected because they feel, I got immunity. See, most people think that I'll get it and I get an immunity and I won't get it again. And some people are getting it again for the second time. But anyway, that's enough for see, the thing, because I haven't did anything all week, it takes me almost 10 minutes to catch you guys up with what I've been doing. See, if I got off my lazy ass instead of just taking a nap after I get off of work because I was so damn tired, if I cut a couple videos, I wouldn't really have anything to do today. So shame on me. But anyway. So I was trying to figure out what can I talk about because I didn't really do much. And I said, well, let me find some of my old comics from back in the day. So I went in my garage, in my box, and these are the comics that I had since I was a kid. And I'm going to show some of these to you. Okay. First, and these are really cool. So it's kind of cool. So like first, this one right here, Amazing Spider-Man number 150. Look at that price, 25 cents. 1975. I was 4 years old when I bought this. This bag right here, I bought it in the 80s. So this bag has been in this thing has been in this bag for like 30 plus years. Now, if you notice, it's not the best condition. You see that right here? There's a little spine roll right here. You can tell right there. If I get this correct, you can see, yeah, you can see it right there. It's like, yeah, right there. Now, the funny thing is, when I was 4 years old, if I knew about collecting this stuff and thinking this might be valuable, this would have been worth about $500 right now. It's worth like 10 to 20 at tops. So this is a potential $500 comic book that I don't have, but I still love it. Like I said, this I was reading this at 4 years old. I was actually reading this at 4 years old. Think about that. And you know, this is not simple language. So you think about it, compared to what's going on today, my 2 6-year-old nieces, twin nieces, can't even read this damn fucking page. But, you know, I digress. Look at this, issue 151. See that? Look at that. This looks menacing as all hell. And the thing is, I used to have to go to 7-Eleven to get these. So, as you can see, this is really worn. You can tell that. Every week, me and my dad, we went to 7-Eleven. He bought me some comic books because it was only 25 cents, and I was reading it. He didn't care about buying this because I was reading at 4 years old, 4 to 5 years old. So he didn't care a shit. Oh, he's reading, so hey, that's great. But see, the thing is, if this was in great condition, this could have been worth about $2,500. Yeah. Speaking of that, a lot of people think that every comic you get is going to worth big money. That's what happened in the 90s. For example, the highest selling comic book still today is X-Men #1 with Jim Lee, by Jim Lee, and I forgot who the writer was. It sold 9 million copies. 9 million copies all together. They had 5 different covers. Each cover is like one part of a gatefold, super gatefold poster cover. And of course, me and other people bought 3 to 4 copies of it because with all the demand, they're worth about there. You can find them in the dollar bins. You might spend like $5 for it. But anyway, I like this one right here, Marvel Tales. This is like a reprint of an actual story from a long time ago. It says it's a mask at last. I remember reading this. I was like, oh my God, Spider-Man, you don't tell him your secret identity. Now, most people don't quite understand. When I first started reading Spider-Man, he was in college. Then what happens, I bought the digest versions all the way up to what I was reading then. He started off in high school. So what happens when you see the Marvel movies and they see him in, like for example, you saw the Sam Raimi version, the trilogy, Sam Raimi trilogy in the early 2000s. You see him go from high school, college to whatever. The Andrew Garfield version in the mid 2000s, late 2000, maybe 2010, something like that. Started off in high school, college. This time they said, "Screw it, we want to keep him in high school." And a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, this is not the Spider-Man I know." But then again, Spider-Man started off in high school with all the high school stuff that you could think of. It's kind of funny. See, the thing is, there's more. I found about 30 to 40 comics that I used to have. I still have. And I was like, man, I want to do it all, but I'll have you up here for 3 hours. Now, the funny thing is, this is one of the most offbeat comics I have. And let me explain it first. Okay. Of course, it's not in the best condition because back in the 70s and 80s, we didn't know how to take care of things except for put it in a bag and hopefully everything goes well. It's not like today where I have a bag and board and everything. And will I bag and board these? Probably not, because they're not worth anything. Now, say for example, if I end up finding a good copy of this, of course I'm going to bag and board it. Of course. Or slab it, which keeps it better. So what happened is, the premise of this is a limited series. It did like 4 limited series back in the 80s, and they revamped it back in the 2000s for a hot second. The premise for this, I remember reading an article about how they came up with this. A lot of people in Marvel was trying to figure out, okay, what can we do for a new comic that makes sense? Because the more comics you make that people buy, the more money you make. And someone goes, I don't know. Well, let's do a team up book again. Well, we did all these team ups. Then someone came up with an idea. In every comic book, when the superheroes and supervillains fight, stuff gets damaged. And they go, yeah, that's true. Who cleans that up? Perfect idea. Let's make a comic book about a company that cleans up all the superhero damage. And what are we going to call it? Damage Control. See this right here? It's all your guys, and then the guy goes, thanks a lot. And the funny thing is, the premise of this is that whenever superheroes clash, this company comes in and cleans up, and they make lots of money doing all that. This company was hinted at the Spider-Man Homecoming movie, but instead of calling it Damage Control, it was just relicensed by Tony Stark. I'm like, you just could have put an Easter egg that not many people would have noticed. Not many people would have noticed this, and people who would have noticed it, who read it, were being like dying laughing. So they missed it. One of the things is that one of the best scenes in this one comic right here was they're cleaning up something, and one of the rules is you don't touch anything. So this one guy finds an orb, and the guy goes, and this foreman goes, "Don't touch it." So guess what? The guy touches it, becomes the supervisor person, and just flies off. He goes, "Guys, we got an origin here." It was hilariously funny. And the funny thing is, this first series was well reviewed. People liked it because it was different. This one right here is so even funnier, and it's meant to be funny. And the funny thing is, this is called When Doom Defaults. So this guy right here is chasing Doctor Doom with the most powerful villains in the world to pay a bill, which he actually does pay. That's the hilarious part. Oh my gosh. Number 3, when they try to market themselves. This is like, I mean, and the funny thing is, I saw this when I went to buy some comics yesterday, because I digress. Hold on. Woo! Man, this is gonna be longer than I thought. I bought, Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. I used to have this comic back in the day, and they brought him back, especially after that movie. The Road to Empire, Fantastic Road to Empire, is the new crossover for the summer, which the Kree and the Skrulls, they both was in the Captain Marvel movie. Decides to take over, I guess. But anyway, that's not one of the reasons. But what happens, one of the big things is this summer's event is Batman. And what happens, it starts off with the Joker's 80th anniversary. And what happens is, this whole thing, it starts off with the Joker War. Now, what is the Joker War? Well, I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be hot. It's supposed to be doing really good. And you get introduced to the new sidekick for the Joker. Harley Quinn is not the Joker sidekick anymore. This girl named Punchline. And she's a little bit more sadistical than Harley Quinn. So I tried to buy some. So one of the books, her origin, that was technically her origin, but not the first appearance. I missed it, so I caught it on back order. Number 92, 93, and I like that picture. I love this picture right here. 94. And so I'm missing another one, which I was gonna go out into another comic book store today to try to see if I could find it, but I probably won't. But then again, I also bought this Wolverine number 2, which I didn't realize this is a variant version with Spider-Woman. I didn't know I bought this because it's been 3 months. Marvel has not put out any comic books in 3 months, so to speak. So what they could have did, well, because when Diamond shut down, which are their distributors, they could have been just still working on stuff. Because the funny thing is, and the biggest thing was the gamers, what they call a Comics Gate, where no one really works at Marvel Comics anymore. Everybody works from home. All the artists and all the writers and inkers and all those main people, the only people who actually work in the Marvel offices are the corporate people, the creative people. All live in their homes, so they could still work on their own stuff They could still work on stories and stuff like that, but what happened was they told them, put your pens down. Don't worry about it. Because if they would have, if they would have worked on that, because they didn't know how long this was going to last, they could have had at least 6 months worth of. And tell you, each book is technically 3 months in advance. So you think about it, you could have had 4 or 5. You could have just said, "Boom, here you go." But anyway, the last of the first season, first series of Damage Control, Wolverine with a pie to his face. So, and it was always quirky. These books was always quirky. It became so. It was such a big hit. They did a second series of it. Acts of Vengeance, the Wrecking Crew, which I love. I love the Wrecking Crew. Which is pretty cool. The Wrecking Crew is a bunch of 4 guys who likes to wreck shit. You thought the Hulk likes to smash stuff. The Wrecking Crew likes to wreck stuff. It starts off with the Wrecker, who ends up getting he has a crowbar that was given to him by Loki. Loki enchanted a crowbar, which made him super powerful. He found 4 dudes, gave them part of his power, and they became super humongous. Big muscle people. And they like smashing. They destroy a bunch of shit. Bulldozer, Wrecker, Bulldozer, and something. I forgot. The names usually come off the top of my head. The second one of this series, The Punisher. And like I said, these were not meant to be serious. And the fun thing is, he's one of your accounts, is he? These are not meant to be serious. These are meant to be funny. They are meant to be. This was like a comedy book, which actually was very popular at one time. Then again, also this one, She-Hulk. They're all trying to lift. All these corporate guys, weak guys, trying to lift this burden, and She-Hulk just like, hey, I got this. You know, and the funny thing is, when they say you demanded it, yeah, because what happens back in the day, people wrote letters to comic book companies. They wrote letters. I mean, tell you the truth, you could write a letter and then. Actually, tell you the truth, let me see in the new stuff. Do they write letters? Not really. Probably because of the advent of the internet and all this other stuff, they probably don't write letters anymore. But in these old books, there was a letters page, in which if you got printed, your letter got printed, it was really one of those good letters. And sometimes they throw some credit. People who don't like it, they also throw that in there once in a while. Did I ever do that? No, because everything I read I liked, so it didn't matter. And number 4 of the second series is this. You see Nick Fury right here. And so it was kind of funny. After that, it went away for a while. Then they brought it back for the third series. And like, who's this? Why is the Hulk doing here? No. Want to tell you how old this is? Look at this cartoon in the back. Remember Game Boys back in the day? Game Boys? Like in the 90s? Yeah. I used to play this all the time. Double Dragon. Oh my gosh. Tell you the truth, I'm actually having fun this video. Because this is the most offbeat stuff I've done. Of course, the first part was kind of serious, but then again, I was like, okay, let me throw some serious stuff about what's going on, what I've been thinking, what I've been doing. Let me hit you with some light shit. And it's like 30 minutes long. Number 2 right here. And, you see everybody just like, what the fuck's going on? This one when they try to make a movie. Back then, Dungeons and Dragons was the shit, because what happened was Dungeons and Dragons was a thing because they was promoting Dungeons and Dragons back then. Don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is? It's a board game. It's a tabletop role playing game. And the last one. And then what happens? I didn't get when they revamped it in the 2000s. I didn't buy it because I didn't know about it until today. So I tried to see if these was actually worth anything, and there's no one selling them. So I don't know. But one cool thing is that I remember these cards back in the day. So that right there, this is, of course there's more comics, more Spider-Man comics I pulled out that's older, and it's kind of hard to believe that something like this, which it interests me at 4 years old, still interests me out at almost 50 years old. And I wish I could say, hey, here, little kid, read this, to get you interested in reading. Because once you get interested in reading, it will advance you significantly. Because I remember my brother, he called me up and he's like, man, I'm pissed off. I'm like, what's wrong? My kids, he's talking about my two nieces, they were doing so good, and all of a sudden they just regressed significantly. Not because of COVID-19, they just regressed. And I was like, man, that sucks. But that kind of happens with today's world. Instead of doing things with your children, you just throw them in front of a TV, throw Nickelodeon, Disney, and you let them do their own thing. But anyway, hopefully, I'm sorry took a little bit longer, like 30 something, almost 40 minutes. Sorry about that. It was a lot that I had to talk about, especially since I haven't been on a video in about a week. But since I got other stuff, that means I could throw another video tomorrow or Monday, something like that, how I want to do it. And there's some other books I want to look through again. It's that's in my garage. I got to dig them all out. There's some other books I got to look through to put them in a different boxes, because some of those comic book boxes that I showed you once before, some of those boxes are like 20 years old, and I want to put them in something more sturdier. Now, like I said, am I going to try to protect these even more than I have? The answer is no, because they're not really worth anything. Especially like these, they're not really worth anything. Like maybe like $10-12 tops. Probably put gas in my car. but the thing is that, but if I find a better copy of these, of course, that stuff is going to be taken care of, and I just use these to read, which is fine. But I'm not going to go through all 200 books of my old books. No way. That's too much money, which I don't need. I don't have either. So what it is that have a great day today. Have a great tonight. Have a great night tonight. Have a great time tomorrow. And I'll see you in the next video. I don't really ask for much besides you watching my stupid shit on the video. Only thing I ask you, the only best thing I ask, the only one thing I actually ask you is watch the damn video. And if you don't do that, that's fine. I don't care. It's nice if you did, but just leave me a note to let me know that you're okay. Let me know that you're fine, that you're okay, you're living life, you're living large, you're balling maybe. Or you like, if you feel down in the dumps, drop a line. Let me know what's going on. And we'll talk to you later.